Litigation paralegals. They work in all types of law practices, small and large firms, in corporate legal departments, as well as government agencies. Litigation paralegals often specialize in certain types of litigation, such as personal injury litigation or product liability cases. Other paralegals specialize in working on behalf of plaintiffs or on behalf of defendants. Some of the tasks that litigation paralegals perform include interviewing clients and witnesses, investigating cases, reviewing documents containing evidence, drafting documents to file with court, and preparing for hearings and trial. So when you talk about litigation, you're talking about activity in court, right? So when I have a case, and I have a case that is preparing to go to trial, preparing to go to trial is litigation. And if you're a paralegal who's working for me, you're doing litigation support, right? So your duties might include talking to clients and potential witnesses, okay? So if it's a personal injury case, who might be the witness that you're talking to if I represent the plaintiff or the person who's suing? Who might be somebody you're responsible for interviewing? Who? The plaintiff, right? You might interview the plaintiff. You might also interview people who might have witnessed the incident. You might interview, at some point, expert witnesses that I might want to retain.
How does expert witness? How does expert witness?
An expert witness comes into play when there's some particular area of understanding that's beyond the comprehension. I shouldn't say beyond the comprehension, beyond the expertise of most lay people. So say, for example, I want to talk about how this accident that my client got into caused traumatic brain injury. One of the things that I want to show is that the prospect of my client working in the future has been severely diminished because of his traumatic brain injury. So how do I do that? I'm not a doctor. So who would I have to get to explain it? A doctor. Mm-hmm. Right? So the doctor might come in and say, I might say, doctor, what are the long-term effects of traumatic brain injury? He might say, an inability to stay focused on a task at one period of time, or frequent mood swings and severe mood swings. And I'll say, could you give me an example? Well, you could have one moment where the person is fine, and then the next minute they are angry and cursing and almost uncontrollable. So obviously, what I'm trying to convey to the jury is the fact that this accident that my client got into has changed his life. So when I'm asking for a certain amount of money, I'm asking for that amount not just to punish or not just to make him whole again as a result of the accident, but also to help him in the future, right? Because where can you work where you have frequent mood swings that are severe and your anger is almost uncontrollable? Almost nowhere. Okay? So when I want to talk about his or her diminished earning potential, I need an expert witness. Okay? And most of the trials that you see, not so much on shows like Law and Order, because that's more criminal, and you do see expert witness in criminal cases, but you see it more in civil cases, right? So that's where you're going to see it come into play more. Next one is corporate law. Corporate law consists of the laws governing the formation, financing, merger and acquisition, and termination of corporations, as well as the rights and duties of those who own the corporations. Paralegals specializing in corporate law may work for corporate legal departments or law firms specializing in corporate law. These paralegals receive higher salaries than most, and those specializing in mergers and acquisitions are amongst the highest paid. Some of the tasks that corporate law paralegals perform include preparing and filing documents with the state agency to set up and maintain corporations, preparing stock certificates, organizing and scheduling shareholder meetings. All right, so corporate law tends to be more complex and complicated, and a great deal of training goes into learning that type of law. So all of this goes to say that when you're hired as a paralegal, you're hired not just for the skills that you have, but you're also hired for the expertise that you might have in certain areas of the law. So some of these areas of the law, you might have to receive advanced training in, okay? Because otherwise, I can't just give you something and say, prepare a stock certificate. So you're not going to know what I'm talking about. And it's not going to be the type of job where there's going to be an opportunity for you to learn it. You're going to have to know this stuff coming in, which is why people who specialize in these areas of the law as paralegals get paid a lot more money, because it's a specialty, right? Just like if you're a doctor, you might be an internist, but then you might have a doctor who might specialize in brain surgery. Mm-hmm. Those are specialists. They're going to make a hell of a lot more money than the person who's a general practitioner. Okay, so the law follows suit. Contract law. A number of paralegals specialize in